I can go into Google and I can put in those search terms, and as it scans through all its information, if I have them in my specializations, I'm going to pop up as a realtor that handles that in the specific area they're asking for. So you want to make sure, the only way that happens is if you actually have filled it out on your profile. So you want to make sure that you're going in and doing that. You can put as many specializations in as you want, put as many areas served as you want. But you definitely want to go in and make sure that you're filling those areas out, because those are things that will get picked up in search. Now, as we go down the page, the next section is going to be all your listing history. So we not only show all of your active listings, but we're also showing everything that's sold for the last 2 years. And so not only can they look at your current inventory, but they can look at all the stuff you've worked on in the past. So again, this goes to making sure that you're taking the time to enhance everything so that you can stand apart from all the other agents they might be looking at.
Is that a real price for that little yellow? What is that, a little cape for 2.5, two? Second one down.
This one?
Yeah.
California.
Los Gatos, California.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing
It's like a small house. Doesn't it look like a small house? Like a...
4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2.2. That's up in the Bay Area. Everything up there is ridiculous. So that's all that information they can click through and look at the individual listings if they want to. Also notice on the sold properties, it also will let them know, did you work for the buyer or the seller? And so all that information, all that history is in here as well. As we go further down the page, the next section you run into is recommendations. Now there are 2 different areas that we're going to talk about here. I'm going to focus first on recommendations. The ratings and reviews we'll get to next. Recommendations have been a part of the profiles, the updated profiles, since they were first created about almost 2 years ago now. And recommendations can come from anyone. When recommendations come in, you can also approve or disapprove of them. If somebody sends you a video recommendation, you can actually upload the video in here. You can add photos. You can do a lot of different things with it. This was originally the area that you would also get recommendations from clients. But you can get a recommendation from anybody. It doesn't have to be a client. Anybody you've done business with, other agents. What I recommend is going out and getting recommendations from a lot of your team members. And by that I mean the pool guy, your lawn people, your handyman, your mortgage lenders, your lenders and your mortgage people, title companies. These are all people that want you to bring them business. So if they can give you a recommendation that's going to help you get more business, by default, they're going to get more business. Plus, if you're really feeling generous, you can add their company logos on here. So now not only are they helping you out, but they're also getting their name and their company's name on a national portal along with their company logos. And it's a win-win for both of you. But it's even better for the consumer because, especially all those new first-time home buyers out there, we know within the industry, if you want to get something done, contact a realtor because you guys know everybody. But to a lot of these first-time home buyers, they see realtors as people that fill out contracts and post listings. That's all you do because they haven't had any other experience with a realtor yet. So being able to go and see all the different people that you're connected to and have done business with kind of paints that picture for them. A lot of agents don't take the time to do that. And so it's definitely worthwhile to the consumer, to the people on your team, and to yourself to do that within this section. Especially because we have added new ratings and reviews. Ratings and reviews now are the primary way that you want your buyers and sellers to rate you, not recommendations. You can do both, but they are 2 separate entities. And ratings and reviews can only be completed by a buyer or seller you have closed a deal with. Again, these can be done by anybody. Now, when people actually go to the site, we'll see an example of this in a moment. When they go and do a search, let's say they say, show me all the realtors in Philadelphia. The default sort order when they first come up is by activity. So the ones that come up first are people that have either added new listings, closed listings, changed listings, etc. We see on our end, because we monitor how people use the site, it's part of our design process, but we know that one of the first things people will do is they'll go to the top of the page and change the sort order, typically to either highest rated or most recommendations. This is also an area that I can tell you most agents aren't paying attention to. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. But one of the ways you can get this set up is, again, request recommendations from anybody and everybody you do business with. That helps boost those numbers, so when they sort by that, that's going to bring you to the top of that list. Now, how many of you here actually check online reviews?
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
The way the system used to be, we used to be able to copy like the other online sources that we had for recommendations and load them in.
Yes.
But now they've changed the whole rating system in the back, so it...
Well, 2 different areas. You can still copy and put them in recommendations because you have control of that. You can copy and paste.
But you can't star that. Can you
Correct.
star
No,
this?
you
That's the
cannot.
reviews, right?
That's reviews.
That's our
We're
biggest.
going to get into that in
Star
just a
them.
moment.
You can't, you're
So
starting
You
from
if
cannot
scratch.
you have like a bunch of Zillow reviews already from customers that have bought and sold,
Mhm.
is there an easy way to
You
not,
you can copy and paste them into the recommendations section.
but you can't put them into reviews
No.
of Realtor.com?
No.
You have to go specifically to the same people and ask for the review again
Yes.
and enter it that way?
Yeah.
So then we're doing the same thing that Zillow requires, and that is sending a link out for them to fill a name and a password out to, in order for
It's
them
not,
to do that.
they don't have to do all that. You're basically just sending a link for them to click on.
Okay.
But yes, it is a separate, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Getting into online reviews. It'll make more sense once we start playing with it. I'm sure everybody in here uses them. I know we were talking about Amazon earlier. Nobody buys anything on Amazon without looking at the little stars at the bottom of the page. This is how everybody does business. We know 90% of the people out there trust recommendations and reviews. It is number 2 only to a direct recommendation from a friend or family member. And I have a whole bunch of other slides. I usually do a whole marketing thing on that too. Number 1 is friend or family member. Number 2, online unsolicited recommendations. Number 3 drops down to 54%. It drops off very sharply after the top 2. When you get to advertising, it's down to 18%. The funny thing is, if you look at all the marketing dollars we spend, especially in this industry, are we spending them here or are we spending them here? Everybody spends them down here. A lot of people aren't doing a whole lot with this yet. But this is how the millennials do business. Everybody checks everything. I use Yelp exclusively when I go from city to city because I want to eat somewhere local. I don't want to eat the chains. And I can trust Yelp because I know the people on the other end don't have control of what goes in there. They are honest reviews and people either like it or don't like it. So that's a big part of the reasoning behind doing things the way we do. Now, realtor reviews over time, I don't know if you do this or not, but you can go out to Google and put Google Trends in and put in any search term you want, and it will tell you how it's trending, how many people are searching for it. So we did that with realtor reviews. You can see back in 05, 06, nobody was even looking for it. But as time has gone on, it's on a very high trajectory. People are actively searching very regularly for realtor reviews. When they do, I can tell you who comes up number 1, because it's in the name. So we have realtor reviews, they go to Real Ratings, and this is the process. So it's an evaluation system that gives you all the ability. It's transaction based, so again, it's only buyers and sellers that can rate you. Nobody else can go in and do it, and it goes through a verification process. Once they're in there, it's sourced directly, and that's part of the integrity part of it. If you could take the review and put the ones in you want and didn't put the ones in you don't want, integrity's shot. You can't have control over that. It's the same thing as if the restaurants could put their own reviews in Yelp. All of a sudden, the integrity goes right out the window because everybody's going to say they're wonderful. So that's part of the integrity part of why this is designed the way it is and why the consumer has to fill out the information themselves. So you send them the link. At that point, it's out of your hands. If they give you 2 stars or 10 stars, you don't have control over that. You do have the ability to choose who you invite to give you a review. You also have the ability to respond directly. And I would highly encourage anybody that takes the time to give you a review, go in there and say thank you for it. Because the type of people that actively use this like to see that. I know I do. When I go on Yelp, if I go in and I'm looking at a restaurant and I see good and bad reviews and management hasn't taken the time to say anything to anybody, I know they don't care what the reputation is. They're not paying attention. On the other hand, when I see that they're at least going in at certain times, or even if it's a bad review, I want to see how it's being handled. Because that tells me they're paying attention, they care what their reputation is. That says a lot about the agent or the business that I'm working with or thinking about working with. So you want to make sure you take the time to do that. We're also a trusted partner of QSC and Real Satisfied. So if you're using either one of these, those automatically will fill in the rating system for you. So if you are using any of those systems, and they will typically work with everybody else too. So if you want a source where you can go out and have one rating system that automatically feeds everybody else, typically these guys do it. And by the way, we don't own either one of those, so I'm not selling to somebody else. But that's another option. It's also the only rating and review system that meets NAR guidelines. Because of course we have to do everything that meets NAR guidelines. So here's what goes out. Basically, they're going to get an email and they're just going to mark off 1 to 5 stars on 4 things. Your market expertise, responsiveness, negotiation skills, and professionalism and communication. Not who sold the house for the highest amount of money on the block. Once they rate those 4, the system goes in and averages out and gives you your 5th, which is your overall rating. And then again, they can add a small review at the bottom. So I mentioned before, it's kind of automated. Again, everything we do, we try and automate it so you're not having to go out and do a whole lot. As of last month, as long as you have claimed your profile, whenever you have a closing, the system will see that, and it's going to kick out an email to you to decide whether or not you want to invite that client to review. But it kind of reminds you to do it. So it's going to say, congratulations on your recent close of 123 Main Street. Perfect time to ask for customer review, because hopefully everybody just finished up around the